Hello guys, welcome back to the James Sinclair podcast show. And today I'm really excited because we've got Lucy. Send me your surname again. McCarraher. It's quite a complicated surname.
It is a complicated surname.
Where's it from, Lucy?
It's Irish.
Irish indeed, yes. So what I really wanted to do on this podcast, because it's a different format to our usual Q&A one, Lucy, what basically is all the comments we get on our videos, we take them and we answer questions and give the answers ready to them on the podcast. What we spoke about on our last podcast with Chudders. Chudders in the background. Shout out, hello Chudders. Hello. Yeah, there he is. We on that podcast we was talking about Phil Knight. Have you read the book Shoe Dog?
I have, yeah.
And we are both mega fans of that book, and it's so well written, and I just can't believe that he wrote that completely on his own. And what's your view on that?
I wouldn't like to say.
Not like to say.
I know, I don't know, but I mean, a lot of people, a lot of big authors get their books ghostwritten. I mean, there's par for the course.
Well, let me give you some context to our audience of who you are and why you might be qualified to answer that question better than most. Because you are... What are you, Lou? Tell everyone
what am
you are.
I?
I don't know
what
to call you. Really.
So I am the co-founder and managing editor of Rethink Press, which is a hybrid publishing company. Which me, yeah. Okay, so we'll have to talk about publishing for entrepreneurs. So you've really got three choices when you're an entrepreneur as to how you get your book published.
Yeah.
So the first is go to a traditional publisher like Penguin or Wiley, or people who will invest in your book and then probably take a year to get it out and pay you a small royalty at the end of it. Yeah. But what they do is they edit and they design and they create the book, typeset it, all that sort of thing, and publish it, print it. So at the other end of the scale, you can self-publish. That's a bit of a misnomer because you actually can't do it on your own. You have to find an editor and a cover designer and a typesetter and all that sort of stuff. So actually, it's a lot of work. And you have to pay other people to help you do it, to get a halfway decent self-published book out. So a hybrid publisher sits in the middle. So we are a publishing company of professionals. We've got a team of, obviously editors and designers, etc. But the business model is that the author pays up front to get the book created. We work with our authors really closely because they are all entrepreneurs who want a book for a specific purpose, and that's not necessarily selling retail copies. So we get books out that are aligned with their brands, not our brand. Not all our books look like Rethink. You couldn't say that's a Rethink Press book. Because our authors are, their own people, their own brand. So they pay up front. We pay them a much bigger royalty when they do sell books, but they mostly use their books for different reasons than selling them on Amazon. I mean, some of them sell, sell well.
So it's because I just want to, so people understand this, because I understand exactly what you do. But basically, your business, and this is why this is so crucial for this podcast, your business helps people that want to be authors that probably never thought they could be an author before. It removes the complications of becoming an author.
Exactly, yes.
And it's like a hand-holding process, isn't it?
It is a hand-holding process, and also, although publishing is our core business, actually producing the actual book, we also help people to plan their books, to write their books. We do writing coaching, we do ghostwriting, we call it booksmithing. So if you come to us saying, I've got this great idea for a book, but I have no idea where to go from here, we could take you from start to finish to, from just an idea to planning, writing, getting it all designed and published and a book in your hand.
Yeah, well, and I am the testimonial to that because you've done it for me. My second book, The Experience Business, Lucy and her team, who are fabulous, and I don't mind admitting this here live on this podcast. It's just not my key skill set. I'm much easier at doing stuff like this, doing videos which we pump out every single day, and some people just hate the thought of being on stage or doing a video, and other people can write copy super duper easy. However, my personal opinion is that videos are just as important as writing books. People that read your books, they might go and watch your videos. And I think the authority that having your own book gives you within your industry, and it can be a niche industry. When I wrote an article which I showed you before we came on air about this isn't, we're not writing Harry Potter here, but if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, because that's a real task, isn't it? Writing a storybook.
That's completely different.
We're not talking about that. This is much simpler. You're writing about stuff you know, aren't you? That really, if you can, my view is, and I don't know what your view is, and I'll ask you that in a second, my view is that we write this book, or we put a book out that proves that we're the expert in what we say that we're in. And is that what we
that's absolutely, that's one of the main points of getting your book written as an entrepreneur. And I mean, obviously, as an entrepreneur or a business owner, your key skills are running your business, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what sector it's in, but that's where your key skills lie. So why should you be good at writing? There's no, some people are great and just, churn out their book happily, but for most people that's not the case. So why not pay? You would pay somebody to create your website, to do your videoing. You don't do that all yourself when you've got to a certain level. So when you're writing your book, you pay a professional to get a good book out there.
So, but just so we can reiterate the point, Lucy, if you're no good at this sort of thing, because I think when you say to someone, right, you got to write 30, 40, 50, 60,000 words, like, that people don't want to make a start. I mean, how many first-page authors are there out there that just don't get to page 2? Using your company and your process, you simplify that hugely, don't you?
Yeah, completely. And you don't have to do any writing yourself if you don't want to. Yeah. So the most important thing is to get a plan first. I mean, to start writing without planning is a big mistake, and that's a recipe for being a page 1 author and never getting any further. So we have a sort of patent way of getting your content out of your head, but into a really great structure for a book, which is different to a structure for a video or a structure for a course. You've got to kind of really unpack it for a book, because as you say, you're writing 30 to 40,000 words, but then you can be interviewed by one of our professional writers, say, who will know what your structure is, who will go through the book and get your content out. You can speak it, and then they will record and transcribe it and turn it into really good written copy, as you say.
So it's my way of the structure of how I've done both of my books. So The Millionaire Clown, the first one, and The Experience Business, I started out with keynote presentations, and really each slide was a different chapter, and that was my rough workings out for what I wanted to have, and that's how I'm going to do, because I got Lucy over for a meeting today, and I jumped on, so we've got to do a podcast as well as what I want to talk about, because I want to bring out 3 books in the next 12 months, one on property, one on building influence, and one which we're going to call The Perfect Business. But I have started building a structure on them through keynote presentations, and my little tip for people is, when I've spoken to people when they're scared about it, is if you just think you're writing a keynote presentation, you wouldn't write 50,000 words for a keynote presentation. You write your headings, don't you? And
exactly.
But that's similar to what you're saying.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
a simplified way of getting the base structure.
Yeah.
And I just want to say thank you, because I know I'm useless at putting the words together and stuff, and you've done a great job with mine, because I know I would have been a big challenge. Let's talk about your book. So this is here, I'm just going, for those that are watching this on YouTube, because we put it out as well as listen, but it's called How to Write Your Book Without the Fuss. Tell me just quickly about it.
Well, that is literally how to write your business or self-development book without getting too stressed about it. So it talks about structure, it takes you through the planning stage and then the writing stage and how to get that out. Talks about titles, talks about, I'm sorry, I have a bit about grammar and stuff in there, because that's kind of my thing. Some people are interested in it, lots of people will just skip over that bit. And then we tell everybody how to get published as well, and talk about those 3 routes that we've talked about before.
So far we've simplified. Look, if you want to bring a book out, don't worry about it. It's not because I really think the biggest thing is that I can't say that I'm how can I do that? That's for the talented few, if you like. That's for the, like Boris Johnson, who can just write effortlessly and bring out, so we're understanding, number one, we can help you, or you guys can help you, simplify the process and have a book out. Now, once we've got the book out, the next stage is, how do we leverage off that book and actually sell it? And you also help with that, don't you?
Yes, we do. So most of our authors do what we call an Amazon bestseller launch. So there's a way of getting your book to a #1 slot on Amazon, which doesn't mean you've sold millions of books. It might mean you've sold a couple of hundred books possibly. But there's a way of doing that by getting you leveraging the Amazon algorithm and getting a lot of people to buy usually the Kindle on one day, and that can shoot you up the rankings. And that's isn't going to earn you masses of money, but it's a great way of telling everybody about your book using social media to leverage your lists and your fans and followers and all that. So that works very well. But really the key thing is to give books away. That's where you make your money. So you get your books to your prospects, you give them away with courses, you make them part of if you're doing speaking gigs, you give books to the delegates, or you make it part of your fee that you're providing books as well. You get books out to the media, to your other influential people in the industry. So it's about making a plan and really giving away as many books as you can in different ways to different groups of people that you want to influence.
So here's I know people that do that, and I've done that. How much it cost for you to buy a book roughly to give away?
That's
even business owners that are turning millions of pounds, making loads of money. They're so give it away, no.
I know exactly. But actually, you'll make far more money out of the books you give away than the books you sell. That's absolutely.
I'm in your choir, by the way. But for those that are not in it, let's get them in the choir.
Yeah. So this book. Actually, I can't remember how much it cost. That one's $9.99, but most of our authors' books are $12.99.
Yep.
They can probably, it depends. It's a sort of matrix of how many you buy at a time, really, as to what the price is. So if you buy 50 books at a time of a book of that sort of length, it's probably going to be between £4 and £5 a copy.
Yep.
If you buy 500 books at a time, it's going to be much cheaper. It may be £3 a copy. Yep. So it's that sort of it's finding a place between cash flow and storage space as to how many you buy at a time to make.
Because the thing, we got a price to do 10,000 of mine. It came down to like £1.
Yeah, exactly.
40, 50, something like that.
And you've got the storage space to put them if you buy them.
But what my big argument is, people go and print brochures for their companies, and we've done all of this. We spent thousands and thousands of pounds on printing glossy brochures, and every time we've done it, I go, I can't believe I'm signing this off, because I know no one's going to blooming read the thing, and do anything about it. But then when you give someone a book, there's a natural respect between the person you're giving it to, more than a brochure, more than a business card. People keep books, don't they?
They do, and they're really impressed by somebody who has actually gone to that trouble of writing a book and being an author. It's amazing how much authority, and the word author's in authority, a book carries. So you can bin a brochure or a business card, you can delete an email or a letter, but nobody is going to throw a book in the bin, are they? They're just not going to get rid of it. They'll put it in their shelves, and they may never actually read the whole thing. But they will flick through it, they will see your name on it, and when they think, I need an expert on this, who can I go to? The book will, is what will trigger them to do it. And you may have noticed, of course, that any media pundit who turns up to comment on a particular topic is always introduced as author of book on relevant subject.
Absolutely.
And that's how you get on the media too.
So let me just tell you some of the things that you've done when you've done my book for me. So I've got speaking gigs out of it. I got a podcast out of it to just only a couple of weeks ago. Chudders and I done a podcast all on that book. And it's got us members, it's got us business, it pays for itself time over and time over. And I just think, like people, if you spend like £3,000, £4,000, £5,000 to bring our book out, if it works for you forever, doesn't it?
Exactly, and it goes on. I mean, I don't think I've had a single author who's come back to me and said, oh God, I wish I hadn't done my book, it was such a waste of time and money. But I think practically every author at some stage comes back and says, you'll never guess what's happened. And it's always because of the book, and it's completely, there are very predictable things, like I'll get more clients, I'll be able to put my prices up, I will get speaking gigs, I'll become the expert in my industry. But there are always weird and wonderful things that happen because of the book.
And that is when you write a book about your expertise in a thing compared to writing a Harry Potter book. Like you can, sometimes you only need, like if you've if you was a consultant of sorts, your book got you one client. It's
paid for itself.
Whereas,
exactly.
When you're writing a storybook,
then the book is the product, and that's the difference. We're as an entrepreneur, you're not writing your book to be another of your products, because what are you going to make? You're going to make £1.50 per sale. That's not very good return on your investment. But if you use it as a leveraging tool, as a marketing tool, then it's fantastically good return.
What I don't think people massively understand, this is the other thing. If I read this book from you, which I am going to take, if I read this and I invest 4 hours of my time into reading I've bought into you, haven't I?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the other big thing.
Yes. Yes, so people come back to you pre-sold if they like what you've written, and also it's a communication. That's 4 hours of your reader is spending 4 hours with you, chatting to them through your book, and it's very personal. So you've got to get your style right and your voice, and you've got to tell your own story through the book and that sort of thing. So yes, I mean, you come back with people who are really engaged with you and feel they know you and want to work with you.
And what I think people really must understand, even if people know you, you can then turn them into super fans if they've read your book. So if you've got a client that already buys from you, then you give them your book, they then go from sort of a customer of yours to an advocate fan of yours. And we opened this podcast talking about Shoe Dog. So I'm not massive, I'm not a huge Nike fan, but I was well aware of Nike stuff, and I've bought Nike stuff throughout my 33 years of life. Now I've read that book, my admiration for Nike is a million times more than it ever was before.
Exactly.
So much, if someone presented me with Adidas or not that I was in like a brand person, but I would always choose Nike over, because I know what pain he went through to build that business.
And it's not about, in your book, it's not about saying, I'm so wonderful, I've done this, I've done that, I've achieved this. Yeah. With Shoe Dog, the story is a nightmare. It's all the awful stuff he went through, but then you totally kind of engage with him because he's been on a journey and you might have been on something similar, and that's what really works.
And you just can't get that over. You're getting someone to understand that by a face-to-face meeting for 6 hours. You haven't got enough time.
No, exactly.
So you can get, that's the thing, is that leverage is one of the biggest things entrepreneurs need to get into, whether they leverage finance, leverage their property, their business. But the book, you do the work once and it works.
Goes forever. Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but it's a fantastically good piece of self-development, because when you do unpack all the knowledge that you have and your process or whatever you're writing about, and you write it into 30,000 words, you really learn a lot yourself, and you have to get it right. But then also you've got all that content that you can repurpose for blogs and articles, and it's all there, it's all yours, and you can use it again and again, and you know it when you're speaking then. You've written it, so it's you never get lost, you never think, oh, what am I going to say next, or it's all there.
So one other thing now, Daniel Priestley, who's a very good friend of mine, and I think he's in business with you.
He's
Daniel's one of he's a great guy, and he's got 4 books, hasn't he?
Yes,
2 that
that's
you've
right.
got, which I'm sure, let's just say
there's
what they
The
are.
Key Person of Influence, and then his most recent book is 24 Assets.
So I've seen Dan speak, and he like you says, look, you've got to build influence and write a book, and you get clients and stuff like that, and you've went through that. One of the biggest things that I've found out about writing books, and why I have done to and I want to do more, is this is the secret that no one really talks about, that I think is the biggest thing about writing a book, is it allows you to build a team so effectively well. So say I was in your situation a copywriter and I wanted to come and work for you. If I've read your book and seen your stuff, I know that you're a good person, then I'd more likely want to come work for you. So the marketplace chooses you because you're and finding talented people that come to an interview that know you inside and out. So when people work for me, when they come, so we've got 400 staff, on their first day or interview, we give them both copies of the book. So they know the business.
That's absolutely, yes, exactly.
And no one really talks about that. I haven't really heard you talk about that.
No, that's true. I don't often. I should. Absolutely. It is definitely a great team builder.
After one of his talks, he said, I've never thought of that. I need to put that in. Because if you're a marketeer and you want to go and work for a really good entrepreneur and you've read that, this is someone I can really get behind. I want to go and work for him.
Yeah.
You know, how many people have gone to work for Virgin because they've read Richard Branson's books?
That's very true. Yes, exactly. And your values come out in your book as well, and you talk about your company and your business.
It's a really fabulous way of talent spotting and finding great potential partners for your business.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm talking about, you know, your team building in terms of your partners here. So I think that is, it's sort of, I worked it out by accident after writing, because, you know, my team come up to me and say things that they would never have known before because we've committed it to words and put it in a book.
Yeah, they quote you back at yourself, and yes, no, that's brilliant. And then if people are asking, if they're salespeople, if they're customer facing, you know, they've got the answers. If people are asking them questions, because you've written it in the book and they've read it. Yeah.
And I think sometimes when you go to a recruitment fee, you know, you can pay £3, £4, £5, £6, £10, £20,000 to recruit an amazing person, and then when you go to recruit people, I've always said it's a deselection process rather than a selection process. Both ways. We want to deselect the candidate, and the candidate should be able to deselect you.
Yeah.
Now, if they've read a book by the person that they're going to work for, they can really then decide if they're a good person, I really want to work for this person or not. And that to me is another fantastic reason to write a book.
Yeah, that's a very good reason.
If you attract people to you that are amazing and you save yourself £20,000 recruitment fee.
Yeah, great investment again.
So I think that's another great reason to write a book. What about audiobooks? Would you think that's important?
Yes, I do, more and more. It used to be you just got your print book out, and then it was you get your print and your ebook, your Kindle out, and that's really important. We always do those straight away. But more and more people are doing audiobooks now. More and more people are listening to audio. Actually, the return, if you are talking about retail sales, the return on audiobooks is surprisingly good, although, of course, it costs money to, you know, get a professional recording done and all that. But yeah, I mean, more and more people are doing it, and more people are doing their own recordings as well, even if they're not professional, even speakers or whatever.
Yeah.
I think audiences are looking to hear the actual person. So even if, you know, you're not...
So I've had that conversation with Daniel as well.
Yeah.
Because he's done the forwards, hasn't he, for his...
His last book he recorded himself, 24 Assets, did, yeah.
When I spoke to him about that, I said, look, mate, if Richard Branson can do it for his books, then you can do it, because I've got a funny feeling that guy's a little bit busier than you.
I know, that was one of the reasons he didn't want to do the recordings, because it does take a whole day out of your life to do the recording, but
it's
so
a one
worthwhile.
Job, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So I did it. We did it for my second book, for you guys.
Yeah.
And it's actually quite enjoyable. But what I did do when I read it out, we found some things that we should repurpose, and actually when we do a second edition of it, I was thinking, because when you speak it out,
you do come across things that you want to.
So it's a really good process of doing.
Yeah.
But also, what people can do is you can cut bits of audio, can't you, and use that as a marketing. So look, listen to this for free if you want the rest of the book.
Yeah, definitely.
Which you can do with it.
Yeah, well, you can do with the book too. You can, have a sort of first couple of chapters as a free download on your website or something. But I mean, the audio is nice as well. People don't get,
And I think sound is so big in terms of podcasts are just as important as the written word, as videos are just as important. People want
absolutely. Well, I mean, the great thing about audio is you can do other things while you're listening. So on your commute or walking the dog or whatever else. That's when I do it.
Because the big thing with it is people go, do we bother with podcasts and audio bits and stuff like, because the access. But we was just in Spain. We rented a car and I've got it on my car here as well. You put your phone and you got Apple Car, and you can just click podcasts and it's there.
Yes.
And that's the big change, isn't it? It's the
definitely,
easy access
exactly. The technology's come into place for it to be really accessible.
So Lucy, how can people find out about you? If people listen to this and go, I want to have a crack at putting a book out, how do I talk to Lucy?
Well, they can look at our website, which is rethinkpress.com, but you can just drop me an email. I'm Lucy at rethinkpress.com, and anybody's welcome. If you've heard this, tell me you've heard this, and we'll know where it came from. So that would be great. Brilliant.
Well, Lucy, I've really enjoyed that. I think we really helped some people there. And let's just, and to people get hold of your book, because I suppose they can buy this on Amazon.
Yeah, that's on Amazon, and that's in audio and ebook and
so
and
we'll
print.
put a link to that underneath the podcast as well, and we'll put a link on YouTube if you're watching this. It's called How to Write Your Book Without the Fuss. Lucy, you've been fantastic. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll be back next week. See you. Bye-bye.